But this is Millennial Money Mindset. If you want the fruits, you need the roots. This is going to be the review of 2022. So what a crazy year it has been. Hopefully you're all okay and enjoyed the Christmas and New Year break. I've been in monk mode for the last month. So finishing up my book, my second book, Football Finances, and I'm excited that's going to be released in 2023. So monk mode was the word, the Oxford University Dictionary word of 2022. And we're going to be going through what went well, what went badly, what you could improve. What we're going to go through today is 7 of the big factors that had an impact in 2022. So I was speaking on stage at the London Investor Show in December 2021, and I was invited to come up and speak in front of about 50 to 75 people, pretty nerve-wracking, and I was asked to give my predictions for the year 2023, basically. Oh, sorry, 2022. So we're in 2023 today, and I was asked 2021 to talk what I think is going to be the big factors in 2022. And I came up with 7 factors, and we're going to go through those in turn today. And I'm going to hold my feet to the fire and hold myself accountable for my predictions of what I think was what went well, what went wrong. And essentially, we're going to go through what went right, what went wrong for this session. So this is Millennial Money Mindset. And thank you so much for joining us. So there's 7 factors that I predicted that was going to happen in 2022. So the first factor, we're going to go through change. Essentially, we're entering in the 4th industrial revolution, which is mental. So many people can't get their head around this. I'm still trying to figure out how to get my head around this. But through looking back through humanity, humans have gone through 4 essential industrial revolutions. So we're entering the 4th industrial revolution. So these are exciting times to be living in, and this is going to be massive change. So my big takeaway for the talk that I gave was massive change. So we're going to talk about, essentially, you can't believe how things are speeding up, how different factors that are happening to us, and essentially how we can use these factors that are going to improve our life. So number 2 was inflation. So inflation, maybe you might have seen an obvious choice, but looking back in December 2021, we might not have realized how much of a factor this has been for us. So inflation is the spending power in your pocket, how much things cost. And this has been a massive factor in 2022, probably the biggest factor. I'm going to go to talk about through why this has been such a big factor, what you can do about it, and how essentially you can make steps, or how you can invest to protect yourself against inflation. And I talked more about this. I'm going to link the video of my talk in this YouTube video. If you're listening to the podcast, head over to YouTube and go to Millennial Money Mindset, and you can watch the video that I predicted 2022 on the London Investor Show. So number 2 was inflation. Number 3 was blockchain is starting to build businesses. So we've gone through a massive kind of speculation of Bitcoin and blockchain, and I predicted a big crash in NFTs. We're going to go through that in more detail. We're going to talk about environmental technology, how that's improved, and how essentially wind technology has improved over 2022. We had the biggest wind amount of electricity generated on record, which is absolutely crazy. 2022, I said that this was going to have a big impact on 2022. It did, which I'm really pleased about, because the environment is such a big factor on where we're heading as humans, as a species, as kind of looking at to kind of even ecologically and kind of economically as well. So I'm pleased that environment had such a big impact. Health tech was another big thing we talked about coming out of the pandemic. We've got a massive baby boomer population. If you look at the population pyramids, we've got huge amounts of baby boomers that are retiring, and they want to increase their lifespan. And I predicted that a massive amount of money is going to be pumped into health tech, which it had. So China to overtake USA, this was another big prediction that I made in 2021. This was probably the one thing that hasn't happened. I still think the USA are probably economically ahead of China now as we stand in 2023. But I think this is going to happen. This is inevitable. I think this is still going to happen. It didn't happen in 2022. Maybe it will happen in 2023. If not, it's going to happen in 2024, 2025. Just looking at population, the demographics, the huge young population in China, why it didn't happen. We're going to go break it down why this didn't happen in more detail in this talk. But essentially, there was lots of lockdown, and there's lots of the regulations, and the government basically controlled a lot of China more than I was expecting. There was still pandemics, lockdowns, still kind of, it's still a hangover from the pandemic. So that didn't really happen, but yeah, I'm confident it's going to happen either this year, next year, or 2025. So, and the seventh and final thing I talked about was strikes, disruption, and a K recovery. So what does this mean? So strikes, there's going to be more strikes. More people are going to be annoyed and frustrated about the economic times that we're living in. With this change that we talked about, a lot of people are going to be displaced. There's going to be great wealth that's going to be generated, but also there's going to be great poverty, and people are not going to be benefited from this recovery or this huge amount of shift in the fourth industrial revolution. And this is going to lead to a lot of people frustrated, annoyed. They're going to have stagnated wages. Inflation is going to eat into people's wages. If you're a teacher, if you're a doctor, if you're a nurse, if you're potentially like a government worker, and you've got maybe you've got a 1-2% pay rise, inflation's at 10%, you're going to be real term a pay cut essentially, and this is going to lead to a lot of people getting frustrated. So that's the highlights. That's essentially where we covered today. And yeah, let's break those down. So what do you think about the 2022? How was it for you? How did you perform? How did your portfolio perform? This is Millennial Money Mindset. We are a channel that puts money into your pocket, time in your day, and happiness in your life. If that sounds good, then subscribe to this channel, press that like button, and tell a friend, and that really helps the algorithm find other people. It helps me build my business, and it helps me help more people. So yes, press that like button, press that subscribe button if you want more videos, if you want more money in your pocket, more time in your day, and more happiness in your life. So it's never been so. Let's break through those 7 points. Those are the 7 points that I predicted in 2021, December 2021, when I was asked to give a talk about. It was a London investor show, and I was asked to give my predictions for 2022. And as I said, I want to be accountable. I want to look back. I'll link the video where I spoke in front of 50, 75 people, and to see how my predictions panned out. So I am a money coach, I'm a founder of Money Tips, and I'm an author of the book Millennial Money Mindset. And my aim is to put more money into your pocket, more time in your day, more happiness in your life. And I do this by essentially aiming for better investment, investing better. So money worries tops a poll as the biggest cause of stress and worry in people's lives. And essentially, I believe that by investing better, this can improve your life by getting more money into your pocket, more time in your day, so you can spend time with your friends and family, have more me time, and have more happiness in your life. What's life about? It's about having happiness, and it's about doing the things you want to do. We live in wonderful times, but with this kind of wonderful time, we've also got huge change. So number one that I predicted was the change. Change is going to be, we're going to see this more and more, that we're living through the fourth industrial revolution. So what was essentially the other revolutions that we've gone through? So we had agriculture going back, where people started planting crops, and you could grow more food. That meant more people were born, you had more population, and that sparked a huge population boom. And then in the 1750s, there was an industrial revolution, the first industrial revolution. This was people moved from the country to the town. We had Adam Smith wrote The Wealth of Nations, and huge factories were built up over in factories in capital cities in London, Glasgow, Manchester. Led to huge boom and huge amount of prosperity that was produced. But then with that, also there was a lot of people who were displaced from their homes. There was also a lot of people who necessarily didn't get they were moving away from their families, but it caused huge amounts of wealth. And then the second industrial revolution was more talking about electricity and kind of the 19th century, huge amounts of new technology, telephones, telegrams. We could talk to people all around the world. That was a massive boost to the economy. That was number two. Number three, then we had a huge boom in computers, in the internet. This was kind of the 1970s going up to the 1990s, 2000s. This was a huge growth of computers. I'm talking to you via a computer, via the internet. So this has been a huge growth in all globalization all around the world. And then now we're entering the fourth industrial revolution. This is going to be AI. This is going to be blockchain. This is going to be environmental impact, where we realize that we're on one globe, one population, all working together. We're going to have energy. So maybe there's going to be huge amounts of environmental wind power. We're going to have energy storage. We're going to have potentially nuclear energy, where there's a different type of nuclear energy, which is very similar to how they create energy from the sun, rather than comparing to the nuclear energy we have today, that essentially the bad type of nuclear energy, which creates nuclear bombs and nuclear waste. There's a new nuclear, I can't remember if it's fission or fusion, but there was, last year was the first time this is actually being tested successfully. And if they can roll that out, essentially it's going to be free energy for everyone in the world, which is just mind-blowing. This is the kind of the technology that's being rolled out today. If anyone's used ChatGPT, this is a new AI tool. It's mind-blowing. It's revolutionizing the world. And this is why, number one, essentially the change has never been so fast. So either you're going to be with this, or it's going to be working against you, and you're going to be caught in a shifting tide. So this is why it's so good you're here learning and finding about a new technology, new ways to improve your life, new ways to make money. And yeah, so huge amounts of change in the future. And this could be scary times for a lot of people, but also this exciting times for a lot of people. So this is amazing. And so number one, my prediction, which I believe has come true, 2022, more change than ever before. So I agree. I think I would give that myself a tick to, I'm going to mark myself here. So definitely, I think that's happened. So number two is inflation. So I talked about inflation, huge amounts of money printing. So during the pandemic, where people couldn't work, there was a huge amount of government support, and to pay for this, government printed huge amounts of money. It was 375, I think, billion pounds, or I lose track with how much money is printed in the States, especially. It's just if you look at the actual numbers that are printed, it's crazy, quantitative easing. So, and this just doesn't happen in a vacuum. Investments, it happens in there's laws of nature, laws of physics. So if you understand the laws of motion, so inertia, momentum, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Newton's laws of motion. You can't just print money and nothing happens. And so if every action has an equal opposite reaction, so there's huge amounts of money printing creating inflation. So inflation is, I believe, was a 2022. I would have the word of the year rather than monk mode, because everyone's feeling it. There's a cost of living crisis happening. If you go to the shops, the amount of money it costs now to buy goods, holidays have gone up. The costs, the amount of money that has to heat your homes, to go to fuel your car. This is all inflation. And this is down to money printing first and foremost. So what I predicted, or how to reduce the impact of inflation, or how you can benefit from inflation, is I say buy commodities. And what was the outcome? So commodities, the Bloomberg index was up 15%. And compared to the other, if you look at the FTSE, if you look at the American index, if you look at the Dow Jones index, or the NASDAQ, or any other index, that's crashed massively. So 2022 has had a horrific year for investments, but commodities have risen 15%. And I've benefited from this myself. I've got a position as a commodity, a basket of goods that I've invested in, and it's steadily going up. I've got gold, I've got metals, actual things like food you can invest in. And yeah, this is part of my portfolio that's done really well. So I'm pleased about that. And so if I'm going to rate myself, that gives me another tick. So look, I'm doing quite well, I believe. So number 3 was, we talked about blockchain. So I think blockchain in 2022 is moved from kind of messing around with speculating Bitcoin to actually it generating profitable businesses. So I think it's actually going to produce businesses. You can actually use this technology that is the technology that is used to use Bitcoin and the blockchain technology. You can actually start solving meaningful problems. So the way I think about blockchain, it's similar to when the double entry in counting that was invented during the Renaissance in like the 16th century. This was a game changer. It's led to many other kind of businesses growing. So it's similar to blockchain. So the blockchain technology, essentially, it's like triple entry bookkeeping rather than double entry bookkeeping. So you can keep an account of your transactions, who you're sending that blockchain to can keep an account of where that's going, and also peer-to-peer ledgers. That may sound complicated, but essentially it means it's trustworthy. So you can do things like create currency, you can do things like create Web 3.0, which I talked about on my the talk that I gave, which I linked up to up in the corner. And it's going to create businesses. You can actually create things like NFTs, you can do things like creating smart contracts, you can do a world of things that can be created through blockchain. And what my warning to people was, the NFT market was so hot at the time. There was amount of supply that was coming onto the NFT market, and it wasn't having there was a limited amount of demand for these blockchains. And I predicted there was going to be a crash, and pleased to say that it did crash. I looked at it, it's crashed 92% NFTs. And if you don't believe me, go and watch my talk, and I do predict that in December 2021. So that's another tick, 3 from 3 so far. So I'm pleased about my predictions and where we are. And if you're liking these videos, I'm going to do another prediction for 2023. So I'm going to talk about, I'm still researching it. I'm still looking at where I think the biggest opportunities are for 2023. So I'm excited about that. So if you're not subscribed already, subscribe now. Just press that button now, and you'll be updated about this. So as I said, look, commodities are up 15%. You could have you wouldn't have got caught up in the NFT crash, and also inflation. You can predict yourself. You can helpfully you can protect yourself from inflation, the downside. So we talked about environmental technology was the other thing I talked about. So I'm pleased to say that wind had a record amount on 2022. So the amount of electricity generated from wind has been a record amount in the UK. So I'm so pleased about that, because I used to work in the energy industry, and I've got a few friends still working in the energy industry, and we're removing coal from the energy mix and replacing that with wind, which is a good thing. And that means that coal produces huge amounts of CO2, which is bad for climate change. It also releases a load of pollutants, which actually causes deaths. Actually, if you look at it, which is pretty bad, especially in kind of near coal plants, the particles in coal-powered power stations cause deaths, which is really bad for respiratory diseases and things like that. So getting rid of coal is a good thing. So yeah, I would give myself another tick. I'm doing okay in this 4 out of 4, I would say. How did you do? How were your predictions for 2022? How was your portfolio? Are you up? Are you down? Are you looking forward to 2023? So the next one I predicted was health tech was going to increase. So if you look at the population pyramids, the amount of people that are retiring is amazing. So we've got huge amounts of baby boomers who are born in 1946, 1947, after the Second World War in the UK and USA, and people had a huge amount. They had enough of war from the Second World War. They wanted to settle down, have families, and they essentially had a huge amount of there was a huge population boom. And these people in 1946 are now retiring. So the amount of people that are retiring are massive. So a lot of people, this is going to change a massive amounts of the economy. But people are retiring, they are aging, and they don't want to necessarily, they don't want to die as you would expect. So they're going to put a lot of money into, or want to spend a lot of health tech. So Fitbits, tracking your health, tracking your heart rate, tracking, you can do genetics, look at your genetics. Are there any genetic diseases? You can personalize a lot of healthcare. You can take a blood sample and look at your DNA. It's kind of crazy the stuff you can do today. And this is going to be a massive amount of investment in 2022. The amount of money that's pouring into this is correct. So I do think this is correct at the moment, the amount of biotech. And after the pandemic, we looked at, there was an amount of money that's been spent in things like the injections that were rolled out. That was rolled out was the research was done in Oxford University rolled out the main immunization. It was so that is happening, and I think that's going to continue as the amount of money that's been spent in these kind of areas. So I'd give myself a tick there. So number 6, China to overtake USA. So this hasn't happened. So this is maybe the only one that I would say potentially hasn't happened. There was a number of reasons So China has still got real strict lockdowns and recovery. The USA has done really well. Some of the tech firms are looking to do pretty well 2022. But I think this is inevitable. This is going to roll out as China's got a young population and USA have got kind of an aging population. As these retirement age people retire, and the amount of the billions of people in China or a billion people in China, and the economy is going to go as these people get more wealthy. They're going to become more of a middle class. They're going to move over to the age of mass consumption. They're going to want to enjoy these kind of the lifestyle that the West, the USA and the UK have lived in the past. So China is going to grow massively, and it will overtake the USA. It's inevitable, and I thought it was going to happen sooner than it did, but it will happen. And so number 7 is strikes, disruptions, and a K recovery. So what does a K recovery mean? So I think the rich are going to get richer and the poor are going to get poorer. So with inflation really targets people who are on a fixed salary. So nurses, doctors, teachers, even if they get a 1 or 2% increase, inflation's at 9-10%, it's going to erode your wealth. So this is going to have a big impact in people in 2022, as I predicted it has. There's so many more strikes, disruption. Maybe it's just from a UK point of view, but there seems to be strikes every other week in the UK. So it got announced yesterday that teachers are going to go and strike. We've got nurses striking. We've got railway people striking. It's a winter of discontent in the UK, and this is going to continue as well. But as inflation increases, as that money printing is going to have an impact on people's lives, and the rich are getting richer. There was a report out today that the top 1% have got more wealth than since the pandemic, and this is down to capitalism. Capitalism is an amazing tool, but it creates wealth for people, and If you've got assets, real live assets are something that puts money into your pocket, whether this is property, whether this is businesses, whether this is debt, you're buying, you're lending your money to people and they borrow money from you. This is only going to get more and more and more apparent. And so this is my big one takeaway, is buy assets, buy assets, buy assets. So buy assets. Every month you get paid, every month you go to a job, part of that money has got to be into your savings, into your assets. Buy assets. It's never been easier time to invest. It's so easy to invest now. It's never been easier. It's never been simpler to invest your money. There's never been a better time to be an investor. So we're at deep dark recession of 2021, 2022, and we're going to have, although we're most likely going to have a recession in 2023, your money's going to start working for you. Get your money to work harder than you do. So it's never been easier, cheaper, or quicker to invest your money. There's never been better platforms, you can invest at a click of a button, thousands of companies all around the world. If you've never had access to more information or access to investments at a click of a button, and it's never been a greater time to be an investor. So we are launching a members club as well. So Millennial Money Mindset Members Club. So, and if you're worried about how do you invest, how do you make it easier to invest? We give, as a member, you get a menu of the best investment platforms. Scams has never been so high, the amount of money lost to scams. And we're giving scams a red card. And because we give you access to the best platforms, FCA regulated platforms, we give you a menu of the best platforms, divided down by cost and complexity. If that sounds good, send me a message in the comments and I'll send that across to you. Send me your best email address to reach you on. And we're going to set up a members platform, a member site. So cost of financial education or cost of financial advice costs tens of thousands of pounds. I used to be a financial advisor charging tens of thousands of pounds for this same information, but I didn't feel comfortable helping rich people save more money. So I wanted to give this information away to everyday people, to help more people get money into your pocket, more time in your day, and more happiness in your life. So cost of financial, so money worries tops the pile as a cause of stress and worry. Financial advice can cost tens of thousands of pounds over your investing lifetime. If you go to a university education, that's going to cost you £9,000 a term. That's crazy amounts of money. And so what am I charging? I'm charging you £1 a day for this members site. So you get access to the best information, best courses. You get a gift every month. So less than £1 a day, that works out to be £37 a month. So the best courses, you get access to my book. You get access to a gift, one of these books, a card game that teaches you how to invest. There's a number of different investment courses, Saver to Investor in 90 minutes, automate your finances. You get productivity, get more done in less time, be more creative, write a best-selling book. These are all the courses that are going to be coming up in 2023. Excited to launch this. So all you need to do, go to moneytips.org, go to the membership site, sign up today, and you're going to be on the journey to financial independence. You're going to have more money confidence, and you're going to have more money in your pocket, more time in your day, and more joy in your life. So my name is Neil Doig. I'm the founder of Money Tips. This is Millennial Money Mindset. If you want the fruits, you need the roots. You could be listening to this on podcasts. Press that subscribe button, press that like button, tell a friend. You could be watching this on YouTube. Subscribe today, press that like button. Tell a friend. You might be listening to this on TikTok. We're going live on TikTok. So we're Money Tips on TikTok with 2 P's. Come over to our website, moneytips.org, with Money Tips spelled with 2 P's. Loads of free information over there, free guides. And yeah, we are here to help you. So super excited to be launching this membership this year. Just if you're interested in this, it's not gone live yet, but just send me a message and I will put you on the waiting list. So thanks for listening. My name is Neil Doig. Press that like button, and yeah, we'll see you again shortly. Thank you so much for joining us, and look forward to speaking to you soon.